Hello, and welcome back to Pathfinder. My name is Philip, and I'm here to talk about Pathfinder 2nd Edition. This is part of a series I am producing covering the various deities in the Pathfinder role-playing game and its setting, the world of Golarion. Last time, I covered Asmodeus, the Lord of Hell. In this installment, I am keeping with the theme of evil deities and covering Urgathoa, goddess of undeath, gluttony, and disease. Urgathoa is a powerful goddess worshipped throughout the Inner Sea region, from the northern reaches of Avestan to as far south as Garund. She is often called the Pallid Princess, or Lady Despair, though she might also be referred to as the First Undead. Her areas of interest are gluttonous consumption, illness, and undeath. Outside of her dedicated clergy, she is primarily worshipped by necromancers, hedonists, the undead, and those who wish to become undead. Urgathoa has a terrifying appearance compared to the gods I've discussed in this series so far. She generally appears as a human woman, with long black hair and frighteningly pale skin. She is rarely depicted as wearing clothes, but will occasionally be shown in flowing robes which expose her chest and torso. While her upper body is covered in flesh, the skin and muscles of her midsection have been cut away to reveal the organs beneath, and below her elbows and hips nothing remains except bleached white bone. Blood flows to the ground at her feet, and she is known to leave bloody skeletal footprints wherever she walks. In her bony hands, she carries a large and wicked-looking scythe. The Pallid Princess makes her home in Abaddon, the outer sphere ruled by the Four Horsemen. They have gifted her with a territory called Bloodrot, on the shores of the Sea of Lamentation, and she has turned this realm into a necropolis, where her undead servants can worship her for eternity. Though she is easily stronger than the horsemen who rule Abaddon, she is content to rule over her portion of their realm without bothering them, or contesting their power. The deific realm of Xiphus, one of her allies, lies entirely eclipsed within her own. Devout followers of the Lady Despair, called Urgathoans, are expected to lead lives of hedonistic debauchery, indulging in every pleasure imaginable. Food, drink, sex, and intoxicants are all meant for consumption, and moderation is for the weak and the misguided. Even more importantly, followers should seek a means to circumvent death, for what is undeath if not gorging oneself on the pleasures of mortal life even further? In addition to these more personal tenets, followers must spread disease, death, and rot into the wider world. While this might seem an odd addition to the otherwise gluttonous beliefs, what is disease if not germs and viruses gorging themselves on human flesh? What is rot if not the consumption of one living organism by thousands of others? Clergy of Urgathoa are rarely tolerated in society, even less so than followers of Asmodeus. Few priests travel openly outside of the nation of Geb, where her faith is almost a state religion. In the wider world, Urgathoans are expected to keep their faith hidden, practicing their beliefs in secret and spreading them like a silent plague. Temples and shrines to Urgathoa are rare, though they do exist. They are often set up to function as feasting halls, where members of the faith can gather and gorge themselves upon food, drink, intoxicants, and the pleasures of the flesh. Sites of worship are often located near graveyards, and might be guarded or staffed by undead creatures. Ghouls make for common sights at these places, as their voracious appetites fit well into Urgathoa's teachings. Her holy text, Feeding Your Hunger, is a cookbook, with recipes on how to prepare numerous indulgent and forbidden meals, often containing poison, hallucinogens, and even the flesh of sapient beings. It is said to contain various riddles intended to provoke disturbing thoughts in the reader, and encourages a more accepting view of undeath. In most societies, ownership of the book is considered a crime. Like many evil faiths, the worship of Urgathoa is frowned upon, if not outright illegal, in most nations in the Inner Sea region. While Asmodeus has the excuse of being lawful and orderly, followers of the Pallid Princess can rarely rely on that as a defense. As such, most followers practice their faith in secret. She is most commonly worshipped by Varisians, who have spread far and wide across Avestan, but her cults accept all followers of any ancestry or social class. Of the nations of the Inner Sea, Ustalav has the highest number of cults to the Pallid Princess. Open worship is limited to the undead nation of Geb in the Impossible Lands, and to the Isle of Dread or the Gravelands, where many followers of the Whispering Tyrant follow her teachings closely. Urgathoa rarely involves herself in the plots and schemes of others, but she does take immense pleasure in causing pain to her fellow gods. This, coupled with her domain over undeath and disease, frequently puts her into conflict with several deities. Sarenrae and Erastil despise her for what she and her followers do to destroy families and the lives of good people. Gozra considers her an abomination who goes against the natural order. Even Abadar, who is sometimes willing to deal with evil deities, recognizes the threat Urgathoans pose to society with their mandate to spread disease. She has a competitive relationship with Calistria, as the two goddesses sometimes vie for the same worshippers. Those who follow Calistria for her domain of lust often feel drawn toward the Pallid Princess for most of the same reasons. Lamashtu is another rival, as the two goddesses must often compete over followers. While the Mother of Monsters can birth new creatures to serve her, the Lady Despair can just as easily raise new followers from the dead. Followers of Grotus sometimes overlap with cultists of Urgathoa, since both faiths embrace hedonism, but Grodans see a continuation of life after death to be pointless, so the interactions between the two faiths are generally few and far between. For the most part, the only gods who truly count Urgathoa as an ally are her fellow deities of undeath and the four horsemen with whom she shares Abaddon. The horsemen, and Charon in particular, are more than happy to host her in Abaddon, since their goals often align. The demon lords Cabriri and Zura align with her domains over undeath, but they often behave too chaotically for her taste. Xiphus, the god of accidental death, is her most fervent ally, as he lives in her realm and views her as a mentor. Recently, Urgathoa has been trying to win the friendship of the minor goddess Naderi, god of suicide. Urgathoa does, however, have one god to whom she is tied more than all the others. Her greatest enemy is, and always will be, Pharasma, goddess of birth, death, and final judgment. The nature of their bitter hatred for one another goes all the way back to Urgathoa's rise to godhood. Little is known about Urgathoa's life before she rose to divinity, but it is generally accepted that she was a human woman who indulged in an especially hedonistic lifestyle. When she finally died, her soul fell into the River of Souls to await judgment. Before she could reach Pharasma's throne in the Boneyard, however, she did what was, until that time, thought to be impossible. She returned to the universe. Urgathoa's soul desired to continue experiencing the pleasures of life, so she fled from the River of Souls, becoming the first undead. Pharasma, seeing the laws of the universe being broken, sent one of her psychopomp servants to rectify the situation. But Urgathoa managed to kill this arbiter, and in doing so ascended to divinity. To this day, Pharasma sees Urgathoa as the great aberration, the thing which should not exist. Pharasman priests consider undeath to be an abomination to be extinguished, and the first undead is the greatest abomination of them all. For players who might be interested in characters who follow Urgathoa, here are a few useful details. For those using the alignment rules, Urgathoa is a neutral evil deity, and accepts clerics of any evil alignment. Her edicts are to become undead upon your death, to create or protect the undead, and to sate your appetites. Conversely, to deny your appetites, to sacrifice your life, or to destroy undead are all anathema to Urgathoa. Her holy symbol is the Death's Head fly, a housefly-like creature with a skull pattern on its back. Her domains are indulgence, magic, might, and undeath, with the alternative domains of decay and swarm. Urgathoa's sacred colors are red and green, though it is relatively rare for followers to wear the colors and symbols of their faith openly throughout much of Avestan. In places where the faith must be practiced in secret, most practitioners wear simple gray tunics as their ceremonial garb. Particularly powerful members might dress more ostentatiously in places where the church feels safe, in clothing displaying skeletal decorations and richly textured fabrics, so the wearer might derive pleasure from the feeling of the cloth itself. It is common for ceremonial dress to be stained, particularly with blood, food, or wine, as a display of the worshipper's gluttony and unending consumption. Followers might also dress as plague doctors, though this generally only happens when they are intending to spread disease. Urgathoa's favored weapon is the scythe, and the vast majority of her priests and priestesses choose to use this weapon for themselves. Those characters who must hide their faith in public might choose a weapon which is more easily concealed, a dagger or war razor, for example, or something which might be carried openly without drawing too much attention, like a rapier. The Church of Urgathoa is prevalent in Osirian, so weapons from that region, such as kopeshes or axes styled after Osiriani designs, might also be appropriate for a follower of the Pallid Princess. Urgathoa's favorite animals are mostly insects, flies first and foremost, but also grubs and moths. She also favors carrion eaters of all kinds, particularly the vulture. The formal clergy of Urgathoa are almost exclusively made up of necromancers, mostly wizards and clerics, but other spellcasters are common as well. The corpse tender, undead master, and reanimator archetypes are all appropriately thematic. The Impossible Lands Plus supplement on Pathfinder Infinite introduces the Mausoleum Student class archetype, which is a fantastic way to play a necromancer. Alchemists and investigators have a place in the church as well, especially those who can create poisons or manufacture new diseases to spread. Due to the church's persecuted nature, most characters will need to live in secret, and so might take feats from archetypes which improve their ability to lie or hide their identity, including the rogue, the alter ego, or perhaps the vigilante. Cults of Urgathoa exist all throughout the Inner Sea region, so a PC who is a follower might reasonably come from anywhere. Ustalav is the most natural choice for a human follower, though Osirian would be a good choice as well. Among non-human ancestries, forlorn elves seem like an exceptionally good fit for the faith. Another good ancestry choice might be gnomes, whose natural curiosity and need to experience new things might lead them to experimenting with the forbidden indulgences the church will readily provide: cannibalism, magic-enhanced narcotics, unending feasts, and the like. A Duskwalker might be drawn to the faith as well due to their connection to death and the cycle of reincarnation. Undead PCs, as described in the Book of the Dead, might also be drawn to Urgathoa's church. Among the undead PC options, the vampire and ghoul seem like the most thematic and natural fit. PCs of other classes might also serve the Pallid Princess seeking a path toward undeath. The Church of Urgathoa is generally organized into small hidden cells. These cells are largely independent and rarely work together for fear of being found out and exterminated. The church is matriarchal, with each cell being led by a powerful female cleric. Full members of the church are known as the Gula, while initiates and devotees are known as the famished. A devout follower of Urgathoa is, first and foremost, a hedonist. They must maximize their own pleasure by consuming food, drink, flesh, and even life itself. Moderation is nothing short of sacrilege, and indulgence is the name of the game. Undeath is something to be treasured, for it is a way to keep experiencing the pleasures of the world long after death. If you're looking to homebrew some content for a follower of Urgathoa, take a look at her first edition page on Archives of Nethys. Her anti-paladin code is a great source of character inspiration, and her divine fighting technique might inspire a few class feats for martials. The Mask of the Skull and the Robe of Bones are both cool items that might be fun to port over to 2nd edition. For GMs looking to integrate Urgathoa and her followers into a campaign, here are some ideas. Urgathoa's current herald is Mother Maw, a large sentient flying skull. Her divine servitors are the Sarkavalt, a race of fly-like creatures which feed on the remains of souls which exist here within the realm, which exist within her realm in Abaddon. Priests of Urgathoa are sometimes tasked with performing a ritual known as the Reaping. A priest will dress in clean robes, then take up a scythe and go out into the world. Their goal is simple: to cause as much death and bloodshed as possible, all while taking great care to deliberately splatter their robes with blood. Upon completion of the reaping, a priest must return these robes to their place of worship, where they will be displayed as an offering. Often, these robes must be recovered by another follower, since the priest is frequently killed. Good or lawful PCs might witness the beginning of a reaping and put a stop to it. If they can identify the reaping for what it was, then the PCs might be able to set a trap for the follower who must recover the robes. At this point, they might be able to track down the local cult itself and wipe it out. Priestesses of Urgathoa make for excellent boss fights for one very specific reason. Sometimes, when a particularly devout follower is about to die, the Pallid Princess will bless them by turning them into a fearsome undead monster known as a daughter of Urgathoa, or a child of Urgathoa in 2nd edition. This transformation is near instantaneous, so it serves as a great second stage to a boss fight. One fun idea might be to have a pair or group of clerics fighting the PCs, and the first one to die transforms. The PCs might realize that killing the second cleric might transform her as well, so they may choose to focus on killing the first one again rather than face 2 of Urgathoa's children at the same time. Finally, faith in Urgathoa is practically the state religion in Geb and on the Isle of Dread. Evil PCs from these regions might be tasked with specific quests by the Church. In Geb, a group of Urgathoan PCs might be responsible for infiltrating or hunting down a sect of Pharasmans. Alternatively, living PCs in Geb who worship Urgathoa might be sent across the mana wastes into Nex to undertake a guerrilla war against Geb's enemies. A similar set of characters might be used around the Eye of Dread, where living characters who follow Urgathoa might be sent into Ustalav or the Gravelands to act as scouts or partisans for the Whispering Tyrant. So that's it. That's Urgathoa, the first undead, the Pallid Princess, the Lady Despair. For a character or campaign focused on the undead, you really couldn't ask for much more. Next time, I'll be moving on to something a little less evil and substantially less indulgent in his appetites. Up next, I'll be covering Irori, god of inner strength, self-perfection, and enlightenment. If you enjoyed this video, consider checking out my rules supplement Expanded Ancestries on Pathfinder Infinite. It adds over 200 new ancestry feats to the game, spread among each of the ancestries not covered by the Pathfinder 2e remaster. And be sure to like and subscribe to see more videos like this.